And a very pleasant good evening, everybody. Welcome to BowlTV's live coverage of the Stepladder Finals of the final event of the PBA50 season, the PBA50 Tournament of Champions. With Tom Carter and Craig Elliott, Brian Kane, of course, is producing. I am Dave Lamont. Thank you very much for being here. The final five are here. And Craig, this was the first time I can remember this summer that position round carried a lot of weight.
Yeah, that was the most exciting event-filled position round we've seen in several years on any tour. I mean, we had four players basically fighting for those last couple spots, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then Andy Nair unfortunately fell out, ended up in 6. But our top 5 we got today are pretty impressive. It's going to be a great show no matter what. Mika Koivuniemi looking for his first win, 8 shows in a row.
Who? Yeah. 8 shows. Do we need to say his name? He's on every week.
Yeah, he's on more often than all of us put together, it seems like. But Mika did make it, Tom. The other thing that's interesting about this final 5 is that everybody's got a title. We don't have anybody looking for a first title, anybody making a debut on a show. These are 5 experienced bowlers.
But we got Knowlton looking for his first major.
That is true.
This would be his 3rd win. And going back to the position round, he threw that clutch strike in the 10th to make the show, which was pretty impressive. Like you said, the final position round was huge on what was going to happen.
So our first match will be Brad Angelo against Dan Knowlton. And Brad got hot late. And then Chris Warren standing by. Then Chris's twin, Mika Koivuniemi, will be number 2 seed. And we're laughing because those two have been like this bowling all week long. They started together, they crossed together, they've had match play together, everything. So it seems inevitable they'll meet. But Tom, the guy who was the most impressive and who literally just had his own event was Tom Hess. Blew everybody away.
Yeah, and he's going for his 10th win. And the last 2 years has been unprecedented what he's done on the lanes. It's just amazing to watch. And shot a 300 today. It's just the guy's on fire. You can't say anything bad about it. He is just throwing the ball fantastic.
We, of course, are on the iconic 27 and 28 lanes here at Riviera. It's been the home of the old Firestone Tournament of Champions for so many years on those ABC broadcasts. So everyone's excited about that. We're going to get to the lanes right now. As a matter of fact, practice should be just about ready to wrap up. And Brad and Dan getting in their final shots. I guess, Tom, the interesting thing I wanted to ask you is, what will Dan's ball choice be? Because I know you guys were talking before the position round about it, and you had some advice. He had a few questions. What do you think he's going to start with?
Well, I think he's got to go with his A game, which is the Urethanean, throwing some urethane down the outside. That's what got him to where he's at. So he'll be playing it different than everybody else, I think, unless he chooses to try to move into where Mika and Brad Angelo have been playing, and Tom Hess. But he's been playing the far outside with urethane, kind of getting it up, throwing a 16-pound urethane of all things. And I think he's going to be in his own world. And when the show starts, we'll find out if we're right, because I know he had 2 of them down there.
And Toby Contreras, tournament director, is going to bring everybody out. And you see Dan coming in. Yeah, this is a strong, strong final 5. You've got Dan 9th place in the standings this year. Not counting what happens here, Mika is 7th. Tom number 2. Brad Angelo number 4. And Chris Warren has had a pretty good last couple of events. He moved up to 16th. Dan Knowlton is the number 5 seed, so Brad will get lane choice.
Yeah, Brad Angelo, I always kind of call him the Bowl U coach.
Yeah.
He's the technician of the lanes. And as many times that we have seen him on the show, it's hard to believe that he only has 1 title.
Yeah, that was the 2022 PBA50 Lightning Strikes Open in Florida. And Brad, again, though it's not 8 finals in a row, Brad is a pretty steady guest star on these things.
Well, the unique match is when Chris Warren, probably the smallest guy in the whole field, with the highest rev rate, one of the highest rev rates, other than Rudy Revs, throwing a conventional grip, which is absolutely amazing to me to begin with.
And Chris has been hard on himself today, Craig. I've talked to him a couple times. I keep bumping into him, and I don't know if he's just perpetually one of those guys who's hard on himself, but he wasn't terribly satisfied, even though he's in the show.
Well, I think that's what we talked about. His match play record was less than stellar. I mean, he was 7-9 in match play. Started with the lead and then ends up in 3rd. So he's like, he had some good games. He just couldn't get the wins. I think that's probably what's got him a little bit riled up. I mean, he could easily be the 2 seed, if not the 1. That's where he feels he should be.
Well, this is the first time in a while we've got to use round robin. We've always been using the elimination format, so it was a little bit different this week.
Yeah, that format might have been unkind to him, but he did well enough. And the other bit of news that we have, that according to our calculations, Randy Weiss, by finishing 8th, took Rookie of the Year away from Mario Quintero. Quintero entered the event with a 490-pin lead, and Mario did not make the final 16. He finished in 22nd, so we got through one cut, but not the second one. And we then calculated that Randy had to finish 9th or better. He finished 8th. And so I guess it'll be made official by the PBA,
and that's all done by points, correct?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, the only thing on this tour voted on is the Dick Wilbur sportsmanship, I believe. So.
And congratulations, Craig, for capturing that title. We have started, by the way. We are a little bit removed from our the location here, so we see that Brad Angelo has begun with a strike. And he had Dan Knowlton start on the left lane, so Dan will finish on the right. We're down by
we're on 9 and 10, and they're on 27 and 28.
They're down there, so
we're getting to see it just as you get to see it, folks. Everybody on this 40-foot pattern, literally everybody, started outside, breaking the lanes down outside of 5. But then they would move in to around 7, 8, 9, and kind of bump it. And all of them, and we talk about this every week about what kind of equipment they're using. And they're using, harsh realities, big balls with lots and lots of surface. So this pattern at one point in qualifying, we thought that they oiled the lanes from the pins this way.
Aren't you say that?
Because down lane, the lanes got so tight, and the front part of the lane hooked so much.
Like that?
Yes.
But actually, that wasn't the front part of the lane that hooked. That time, that's the standard Dan Knowlton approach to bowling right there. That's his game. So he's off to a little bit of a tricky start.
And Dan's using a black urethane hammer, but he's got two, one at 15 pounds and one at 16. And believe it or not, the one at 16 hooks more because the differential is higher. And so he likes to use that, but it wears on his shoulder throwing 16 pounds.
Yeah, I heard you said I'm surprised with the issues he's had with the shoulder. He's going to go ahead and throw that extra weight. That's a bit of a surprise. And Dan had a nice surprise when he got here tonight. His mom and dad showed up. They made the drive down, surprised him here. They're here to watch the show. They were in town for his first win in Jackson last summer at the World Series.
That's kind of a rough start, 3, 6, 9, 10, and that's tough enough on this pattern because, like I said, down lane, it just doesn't react like you think it'll react. And I'm sure you guys watched today in match play. There's a lot of times Chris Warren, even with his rev rate, he threw the ball thinking the ball was going to make a move to the pocket, and it just kept on going straight. And he's like, how is that possible that it goes straight? I watched him on one shot leave the 2-8, and you normally move right and we hook at it, and he hit the 8-pin, never got to the 2-pin.
That is a rare thing. Yeah, I've seen that happen only a handful of times this summer where somebody gets the back end of that.
Dan change balls, moves in.
And should have struck.
Yeah. And that's the ball he went to in the position round to actually cap his spot in number 5 spot.
Yeah, Dan finished 5th. His match play record 9 and 7. He averaged 218.65. He took this last spot by 6 over Andy Nair. Andy was number 2. This is how crazy the position round was. Brad was 6th going into the position round. He beat Knowlton, but Knowlton scored enough, as you mentioned, the late strike. Chris Warren held 3rd. Mika jumped from 4th to 2nd. And Tom, of course, was so far ahead.
Tom didn't have anything to worry about.
No. He was just practicing basically the last few games, and one of those practice games was a 300.
Well, the big surprise was Andy. He'd been using the same shot, same ball pretty much the whole tournament, and he shot 170 in that position round and goes from 2nd to 6th because the numbers were so tight. And with the 30 bonus pins, guys were kind of leapfrogging all over the place.
Yeah, well, in a normal tournament, 170 of the 2 seed, you're usually good in position round, but this wasn't anything but normal today. Anything but normal. We actually saw Brad Angelo had a chance to possibly even get to the 2 seed.
Yeah, Brad was on
the 6th spot.
Had a chance at a 290 in that final game till he had a couple of spares.
It looked like he got distracted by something.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was looking to the right, but we can't see that. We're so far away.
Yeah, Brad, I don't know if somebody said something or if there was a noise, whatever it is, caused him to back up and start his routine over again. Yeah, Brad beat Dan 235 to 215. It came to Mika and Warren, 225 to 212 for Mika, and Tom Hess bowled at 247 to Andy Nyers, 170. The other guy, and I actually couldn't believe I said this out loud, I actually felt badly for Walter Ray today. I thought he bowled beautifully, ended up making a charge but falling short in seventh. Missed the show by, what is that?
11,
16,
27.
27 pins.
Right.
And he was 11-5 in match play. He was just fantastic today.
It just seemed like when he needed that extra strike, it was a 10-pin, just like that.
Yeah.
Well, he had 290 and 279 shot against him when he shot 230s or 40s. So, I mean, those are normally
He had,
good. So,
I think,
one of
4
those
or 5
on the show.
235 games roughly in that area in a row. And he goes, I got to shoot something better than 235. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, he just couldn't find a win. I mean, 11-5 is not a bad match play record, but it could have been better.
He lost his first 2 games. One was Chris Warren. He lost with a 256 today.
Yeah.
Because Chris Warren threw a 290. He beat James Campbell with a 225. Then he rolled 236 and lost to Tom Hess. And then he beat Randy Weiss 235. Dan Knowlton with Randy 233, Dan Knowlton 235, and Dino 236. A little more here, a little more there, and who knows? The game's all-time biggest winner could have been in this Stepladder final.
Well, when you're going from one end of the house, and it seemed like the guys were going either down here to 5 and 6, or they're going to 29 and 30. They just kept going back and forth. And one end of this house plays so much different than the other. Donnie Hogue, who has the pro shop here in this center, told me when we started, he goes, every lane you go to, just imagine that you walked into a different center.
Yeah, he told me the same thing. This was your first visit here too, Tom. So it was, and you bowled naturally, and I guess that was an eye-opening experience at times.
Oh, I thought I was doing pretty good until I hit 5 and 6. I couldn't have beat a Bantam bowler on that pair. I shot 128 on that pair. I threw 4 splits, and I think I chopped 2 spares.
Well, the old cliche of must-strike situation certainly applies here. All the traffic pushed to the wrong side, so the 7-pin for Dan.
Well, that's kind of interesting because when we watch Mika, when he gets on the show, you're going to see him probably with the same half-pocket hit and splatter pins everywhere.
I was talking to Tom Clark about this. I've talked to you about it, and we'll save it for when Mika gets out here, but I'm just amazed at what he creates by not being flush in the pocket.
It's just a difference in rotation, right, Tom? Just the way the ball enters the pocket.
Well, yeah, it's axis rotation, and Mika has one thing that you're not going to see out of the other players on the field. There's a little more launch angle to Mika's game. He kind of planes that ball out on the lane about 7-8 feet, and so it grabs the lane a lot different than the guys that set it down about a foot over the foul line.
So Dan Knowlton still searching for a first strike. Brad Angelo in command in this match. The winner will play Chris Warren, 6-time PBA Tour champ and 1-time winner on the PBA50 Tour. And even funnier, well, I'll save that for later.
There. Knowlton with finally a strike. He gets the right shape that he's looking for. And it's tough when everybody's playing the same kind of part of the lane, but it's not that they can't get to the pocket. It's how the ball goes through the pins in the pocket. It's real easy to leave 4 pins, 10 pins, and designs. Brad Angelo is just so smooth and rhythmic to the line. He looks effortless in that approach. It's just a little bit of hesitation step and just fluid. And how many guys have a hesitation step? We seem to talk about that.
Well, I think one who's not here, John Janowitz, has that little hesitation starter step.
Chris Barnes has it.
Yep.
Brad Snell's got it. Chris Warren, you're going to see him in the next match. He's got it.
Well, Chris is in the middle of his approach. He gets that ball so high in the backswing, he's got to wait for it to catch up to him.
Oh,
look at his feet going.
He weighs like 100 pounds soaking wet.
Ooh,
That just turned the corner a little too hard. Come in high.
Yeah, the old fast 8 there. Brad's been bowling really well in the last, all summer, but the last couple months of World Series, both fantastic. Made every match play around. Couldn't sneak out a win. Just can't figure out how to win a match and to get to a title match. But he's bowling great. We're watching him set pairs up. The scores are high. He's done everything but win.
Well, we got a guy coming up with that problem too.
Yeah,
this is going to be his 8th show.
No, I'm on Mika now. He's just making shows to get more free advertising for the Kennels. That's all it is to it. Now this is the last one. Okay, fine. Now I can win. I don't have to worry about doing that.
And it's a major.
It's a major, yeah.
So Brad's year, this is his 6th TV show. He has 2 runner-up finishes, the most recent of the PBA 50 World Championship to Mario Quintero. He was also runner-up at the Fort Myers Classic. He had a 4th at Hamtramck. He had a 4th at the PBA Senior U.S. Open and a 3rd at the Johnny Petraglia BVL. Only 2 times has Brad not cashed a check this summer.
That was way outside, and he came back. He seems like he's, I hate to say it, but it looks like Dan's a little lost.
He looks a little tentative, too, a little uncomfortable right now.
Well, I don't know if I can necessarily blame him. He just doesn't have any reaction compared to what you're getting of his opponent. Dan this year is 10 out of 13 in cashes. He did not cash at South Shore. He was 5th at the Trios, got in that first match. And this is Dan's 4th TV show this year. He won in Morgantown, 4th place at the Villages.
Well, the sponsors of Morgantown are here, and I think that's why he's bowling so good.
Well, he bowled really well there.
Yeah.
The PBA50 Morgantown Classic, and that one, John Burkett, Mark Sullivan, John Janowitz, Jason Couch, all made it. So he beat Couch in the championship match. That was a 299 game. That will not be happening here.
Would be nice to see a 300 on this pair.
And Tom Clark is here. He can whip out the money clip and pay him right away. Assuming Tom has $1,000 on his money clip. Probably doesn't.
That's just walking around money for Tom.
He's got a checkbook.
224 the match
Oh,
score for
my.
Dan Knowlton. Got it out there again. And that
What
one,
is
unfortunately, turned up for him, leaves a washout.
Yeah, there was a threat of, and I think lost is the right adjective to use here.
He literally lost that off his hand.
Yeah.
Well, Walter Ray did it too. He threw one in the gutter.
He threw 2 in the tournament. He threw one yesterday, too, and one in the gutter, and he spared it, of course, and he did it the day before, and he gutter spared. And this gutter, the second one today, was in the 10th frame in match play when he was making a run, and he still won the game.
Got
a chance there. Oh, a ringing 10 on a spare?
He just looks confused. I guess that would be the word. Like,
well,
he thinks he's in the right zone, but I'm really shocked that he missed that shot off his hand. You never see that hardly out of Dan at all.
Yeah, he doesn't usually make a major physical error like that. So Brett Angelo has a pretty solid grip on this game here.
Yeah, Dan Knowlton can only shoot 199.
Yeah.
That's if he throws the next 5.
And Brad's moving ever closer to moving on to a match against Chris Warren.
It looks like Brad's just trying to play that strip right around 11 and 12 and just keep the ball dead on line and let it turn up on the back end. And I'm pretty sure that's the way Chris Warren is going to play it. Even though Chris has got a lot of hand, I think he's going to try to trap the pocket. Yeah, right up 11-12.
That one through the
that
nose.
took off.
Yeah. I think, was that one dropped a little bit more left than his previous shots?
It could have been based on our angle, but, you see that ball check up. And, again, from pair to pair, to lane, we talk about it every week. But this center seems to be totally unpredictable from lane to lane. When these lanes were put in, they were put in over top of the original wood. And I asked Donnie Hogue, I go, did they resurface the lanes before they put them down, or did they just put the overlays on top? And he goes, they just put the overlays on top. And what that happens then, The overlays will take the characteristics of the lane underneath,
Oh, I never thought of that.
as far as the depressions and things of that nature over time, and that's what makes this place so tricky.
Well, and what that does, Tom, right, is it forces you to get away from the track, either stay right of it or get left of it. You can't really play in it, especially with the amount of oil that's in the middle of the lane.
That's the best throw for Dan so far, but the odds are the door is closing, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, unless something drastically happens to Brad, Dan is just kind of filling frames at this point.
Chris Warren warming up off to our right. Well, everything is actually off to our right today, given our location here.
How come you guys didn't set up down there so we could see?
They should put us down there facing the bowlers like we do for the TV shows, and then we can just sit there, and then they'll wonder, God, what are they saying about us?
That's true. I was talking to an older gentleman. He used to keep score from, he said, 79 to 90 here.
I'm telling you, for a TV show, a big Fox TV show, that scorekeeper is a pretty important guy. Cecil does it for us, and has been doing it for a little while. But that is a critical job.
Because 27 and 28, if you've never been here, is kind of right in front of the front doors.
Just about.
Just about.
It is the pair in bowling history. This was the pair in the days of the Firestone Tournament of Champions, which always wrapped up the winter tour, what was then called the Pro Bowlers Tour. And it was Chris Schenkel, and then Billy Whaley, then Nelson Burson Jr., and occasionally Dave Dials would jump in if Chris couldn't make it, or Bo made the show. Dick Weber would fill in. And Bo made more than his share of shows. As he was obviously a Hall of Fame bowler.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They got all these banners up on the ceiling.
I love that.
I took a video of all the banners. I told Wayne Webb he should come up because we're sitting pretty much almost.
Yeah, you
right.
can't get rid of that guy. No
I
matter
know.
what you try to do. You go to a different part of Ohio. Where's Wayne Webb? His name is 10 feet away from you.
Yep, right there, looking at it. Steve Cook, Joe Berardi, George Pappas.
Well, right in front of us is the Earl Anthony banner, a two-time winner of this event. And down there farther to the right, because it goes up to the modern times. It's not just the tournaments that were held here. 2011, you'll find Mika Koivuniemi's banner hanging here.
Well, you got Mike Durbin, who's won it 3 times, 72 and in 82, then again in 84.
And somewhere Jason Couch is yelling, "Hey, I won it 3 times too, Tom."
Yes, he is.
Brad Angelo is moving on, and he will take on Chris Warren in the next match.
But I don't think anybody has done it like Durbin done it when he won with a 3-step, 4-step, and a 5-step approach.
It's a lot of steps. Or they're not a lot of steps.
Brad's going to try a little something different here. He's got a couple practice shots just to see, because he does not get practice between games. But Chris Warren will get his practice shots.
Dan, unfortunate, finding it a little bit too late. That was Runaway Brooklyn.
We have seen a lot of that this week. No matter who we saw, Hall of Fame bowlers here going Brooklyn.
But, Tom, when you make a ball change, you don't necessarily want to see it go dead flush, right? I mean, Brad's lined up. He's throwing good shots. You make a ball change, you want to see something different.
Well, that's the idea of the ball change. You're going to see a different shape, and you're going to see it read the part of the lane, either earlier or later. But if you have to go to that ball, at least you know what it's going to do.
Bump in a little bit.
It looks like exactly. He bumped in a little bit on that ball to see if it would hold pocket if he did move left. Still came in high.
But now he knows if he has to go to that ball, just bump a little more left, and there you go.
All right, so Brad Angelo's pursuit for title number 2 will continue. Dan Knowlton will pack up and get ready to go to Nevada as part of Senior Team USA.
Yeah, he is on the Senior Team USA. Congratulations to Dan Knowlton on that. That's a big accomplishment. He's got to be proud of that.
He'll join Tom Adcock, John Janowitz, and Stevie B. Bedavinek.
What?
Got it wrong
Well,
again.
he's going to strike out now for sure.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested, and he'll walk by, and I'm going to ask him, what happened? What did he see in the last 3 frames that we missed in the beginning of the game?
Well, he's got Jeff Johnson down there, obviously highly skilled ball rep to help him out. But
Yeah, Jeff shot 300 in the tournament.
yeah, he did. And he somehow managed to do it with Dino Castillo almost standing in his backswing on the last shot. We saw it live. Jeff turned around and Dino's right there to give him some congratulations.
There is probably nobody more aggravated at this point in time than Dan Knowlton.
I think you noticed it earlier, Tom, just body language. He just didn't look comfortable or just wasn't making good shots. And then for a shot or two, you try to force it and nothing ever happens.
Well, that one that got way off his hand is probably going to end up being the real killer if you look at the scores. Now, obviously, I'm sure Brad bowls a little differently, too.
Right, but that 6-3 wasn't obviously a good shot.
No.
But, when you spend several days throwing a certain ball in a certain part of the lane and it gets you to where you want to be, and you finally get to the show on the fresh thinking, I'll get to use it again because he shot 279 on his pair earlier, that he was, pretty happy he's on that pair.
Sure.
Shooting 279 and now not having the look that he was hoping for.
But there's been a lot of practice on this pair before this match started. All the players had time to practice. Chris Warren, I know, was throwing some urethane and practice on this pair. So I totally understand what you're saying, but we see it every week. I just think, I can just do what I did before. But it's different.
Right. On the show now is a game of defense. You try to break up the pattern for other players and make the pattern better for yourself. I know Chris has got a pretty fancy pro shop. He's got a lane in his pro shop. And if he's got two pro shops or just one.
Two lanes in the pro shop.
Two lanes in the
full
pro
pair.
shop.
Yeah. Right there. Plano Super Bowl. We know they're all out there watching, so a big shout out to all our bowling fans down at Plano.
And Brad Angelo begins match number 2 with a ringing 10.
Yeah, he's staying pretty firm right around that 11-12 mark at the arrows out to about 8. There are some pairs in this place. We keep talking about the diversity of this place, but you could actually get it clear to the gutter and it'd bounce all the way back on that lane, but it might not do it on the lane next to it.
I thought you said firm. I thought that looked a little firmer than he's been doing as well.
Right.
You think that shot? He that was a little tighter. He's really good at rolling on that one. He didn't roll it.
Yeah, confirmation from Plano Super Bowl that they are tuned in. Now, at the end of when they play the big football game, is Plano required to call themselves Plano Big Game at the End of the Year Bowl?
Probably.
So they don't get sued by the NFL?
Probably.
Oh, we didn't.
Messenger.
Wow.
He's always laughing and smiling. He was that way if he struck or he didn't strike. But a lot of times he would look in today when that ball just sailed. He's like, I can't believe, he'd laugh about it, that ball never hooked.
Well, Chris Warren, last victory on this tour is in June of 2018. It's a major championship. He's competing for a major championship here. Mentioned in the overall picture things, he's 16th. But he joined in the fun in May and made back-to-back shows and had back-to-back runners-up. May 22nd at the Johnny Petraglia BVL Open and the USBC Super Senior Classic. He lost to John Janowitz in the Petraglia and Jack Jurek in the USBC Super Senior. That was the last show he's made. And that
now he is
long way.
Yeah, he wheeled on that, and that's kind of what we've seen him do today. He hooked it more than a lot of the other players. But when you got that rev rate, you can do that.
And just to finish off Chris's year after those second place finishes, 25th at the USBC Senior Masters, 18th at the Senior Open. And then he got to the World Series and made Ballard 27th place, 32nd, Petraglia 29th at the World Championships, 27th at the Trios, never got going there, 19th in Hammond, so he came in on pretty decent form. Another one for Brad.
But in Chris's defense, he doesn't, he bowled more tournaments probably this year than he's bowled in a while. He doesn't come out that often. So like he's out this year, he might miss half of next year or 2/3 of it, but come out the next year.
Well, here's the reason we get to see more of Chris Warren, though. Since he moved to Dallas, he doesn't like to fly. When he was living in Oregon, he didn't bowl a ton of events because it's just so far to get here. Now he's living in Dallas. He gets a chance to drive to a lot more places and bowl a lot more events, so we're lucky to,
Well, that's quite a drive.
to see him.
I mean, that's just
From
a hop,
Dallas isn't
skip, and a
bad,
jump.
yeah. But from Oregon, that's a long way.
And I guess
Grants Pass out there.
if he has to fly, he's got one of the country's biggest airports. If it comes to that,
Well, he's like some of us that don't like to fly.
I don't like to drive distances. I insist on driving when I'm in the car, but I don't like driving distances. I don't have the mentality.
I mean, you could just build Chris a condo in one of your luggage compartments with a motorhome next year. You could just travel with it.
Haul him around. He's small
doesn't-
enough he can fit in that.
He doesn't
underneath.
take up much space. Yeah, good point. There you go,
He-
Brad.
He is keeping that online.
But see, that one was a little bit, just a touch slower, right? Just rolled it just a little bit better.
Unfortunately, we don't have the speeds on these like we did on some of the other stuff. But it was a lot of the guys were throwing the ball right around 15.5 to 16.0, but there was a lot because of the amount of oil that was on the lane that they didn't have the rev rate to get shape. They were throwing it like 13.2, 13.5.
Ooh, lucky man there, and that messenger won't have any weight on it at all. It won't even make contact. So Chris, very fortunate to avoid disaster.
Chris can use, he's one of the few players that can use the same ball that he's throwing strikes with as a spare because he has the ability to really kill it and throw it straight and actually back it up just a little bit.
Yeah, Norm Duke was another one that did that. There's not many guys that do that anymore, though. Very, very rare.
That gives you just one more opportunity in the bag for a strike ball.
Right.
But most of us carry around spare balls, even Walter Ray, who's probably one of the best spare shooters of all time.
And Chris is also in that. We have two of those guys on the show who have both the USBC Masters and the Senior Masters. And that would be Tom Hess would be the other. And there's two others, Dave Sutar. And who am I leaving out? I think there's four guys. But Chris won the USBC Masters and USBC Senior Masters.
Parker, I believe, was it?
Parker?
Walter.
Walter.
Walter?
No, Walter? One
Yep,
of them.
Walter.
Yeah.
And Chris had 6 on the kids tour, 6 dubs on the kids tour.
And I think he's at 58 regional titles.
Yeah, sounds right.
58.
Yeah.
That's a boatload.
Have you even bowled 58, Tom?
I don't think
Yeah, that's a big number. Big, big number.
First double of the match for either bowler belongs to Brad Angelo.
Got a ball game here.
Kind of thought we would.
I think there's going to be a lot of lane changing in the next couple matches.
Yeah, how is this match potentially going to affect Mika, who's in the next match?
I don't think it'll affect Mika hardly at all. The only thing that could happen to Mika, depending on how much urethane went down the lane, since he has that loft, how much back end he might lose. It could be a little bit tighter in the back end for him. But even if it is, his carry percentage of hitting half pocket today was retarded. He just hit. It was amazing. He could hit half pocket and blast pins everywhere.
It is a staggering part of his game. Actually, we got a little of that from Brad right here. This isn't a full flush hit. I don't think. A little light, but
Yeah,
a lot of
deflect a little bit.
a lot of oomph on it.
Yeah, if Mika can kick the corners with his the way he gets ball in the lane, he's going to be tough to beat.
It just looked like when he hit half pocket, the head pin went to the side and it turned into a helicopter blade and was just going back across the pins.
That looked good right away. And a big double for Chris. He needed that, given what Brad has done the last 3 shots.
You just kind of wonder if Mika was actually lining up to hit half pocket Or
I don't know. That's worth asking him. He's certainly good enough that he could. The answer is probably yes to that.
I think the danger, though, in this pattern, Tom, if you line up half pocket like that and you miss in, there was so much oil, you're going to miss the head pin right. We saw that too many times.
Hick off for Chris there, leaving that single pin.
Pesky little 4-pin.
We're going to get a little Dan Knowlton intel from Tom, having a quick conversation with his compatriot, Jeff Johnson, who made match play, had a 300, had another good tournament. Well, I know what that conversation was about.
yeah, it was about Dan and the first one. And Jeff Johnson said he just didn't look comfortable on the practice pair. He just looked like he was trying to just wrench on it. And his very first shot off the hand, he just threw it 100, and he just never got comfortable. And we kind of seen it here on the show. It just didn't look like he was comfortable.
You guys pointed that out very quickly. Nope. Don't always get that kind of carry.
That looked a little bit, maybe it wasn't, but, from our point of view for where we're sitting, kind of looked like it was a little bit slower off of Brad's hand than his previous shot. But the thing about the tournament here, it just seemed like pairs lanes were so speed sensitive, and you had to lock in on a speed and keep it there. Sometimes shots open up enough that you can get away with hiccups in speed, but not on this Tournament of Champions pattern.
Yeah, this isn't one you were going to come in to just overpower. That wasn't going to happen.
We haven't seen this pattern all year.
Well, let's show it. If we have a second here to show that, put that pattern up, the Don Johnson pattern.
There it is, 40 foot.
Yep, just under 30 mils of volume, Brunswick Absolute Control oil, 2.461 to 1 left, 2.54 to 1 ratio on the right.
I mean, when you look at that graph that you just put up, it doesn't look that difficult. But I got news for you.
When you throw it like that, it doesn't look difficult either.
Exactly. But when you know how many loads of oil went on the lane and you see your ball skidding forever, you realize it doesn't play like that picture looks.
And with a one squad event, this, of course, being a much more exclusive event, only champions of PBA Regionals, PBA Tour, or PBA50 Tour are eligible to enter. So it would get not quite the play that you normally get. A lot of oil, though, was used, for sure. We had re-oils in between squads and a re-oil before tonight's matches.
Boy, after the re-oils, you talk about walking into a different center.
Yeah.
One thing that we saw this year, though, which has been a little different than years past, is that every week was a different type of oil. Right? There was a couple seasons we used the same oil pretty much every week, and you saw the same guys. We still saw a lot of the same guys make the shows this year, but it's just because they bowled so good week in and week out. But we've had a variety of patterns, variety of oils, even mixed up the machines a couple times to try to get things a little different. But the cream still always just rises to the top.
Yeah, we got to see some new faces, especially at the World Series of Bowling.
My goodness, that looked. He started the moonwalk on that one.
Yeah,
That's
still in disbelief that didn't strike.
Yeah, that one stings. He's only 9 pins down going into that shot. That one, he is. Yeah, I'm sure Brad Angelo thought that ball should have struck for Chris.
Yeah, Chris is going to need a little help here. He's got to keep striking. I'll make this spare and force Brad to keep doing what he's doing.
Well, if Brad keeps doing what he's doing right now, he's going to shoot 258.
Well, Chris is going to have to recover, and he'll get one more crack at it in ninth, or two more in the 9th and 10th. But what's he facing?
I think the biggest, and you guys have probably talked about it during the course of the week, but the biggest thing that I think most people were shocked at, John Janowitz not making a show.
Well, you talk about how Dan Knowlton looked lost. Usually when John Janowitz looks lost, it's a very temporary thing. And he'll find the right ball, he'll find the right way to stand or his timing step, but he was just surprisingly lost the whole time. and did not make the cut. He was close to it, but didn't make it. Didn't make the first 32.
Well, he was out on the truck being the PBA truck where we drill balls, and he was out there several times, actually not going to his van that we talk about all the time. He was actually drilling stuff, trying to find the right look to strike on this pattern.
Yep, it never did work out for him. But he had already clinched Player of the Year, so there wasn't any drama involved in that. But, yeah, it is surprising. I mean, he was the favorite coming in. I'm sure Tom Hess would have attracted, if this were in a sports book, a few bucks as well. And Tom sits in the number 1 position.
But Tommy's been bowling. He just sees it. And he's been bowling incredible. And I guess when you can see the pattern and you see your ball motion and everything just blends right in, you strike a lot. And he figures it out.
Yeah, even if he has a couple of bad frames or maybe the occasional bad game, he seems to come back like a volcano.
Well, that was the key. Even if you had a bad game, where some guys kind of get a little distraught and their focus goes wandering off because of that game and they kind of dwell on it a little bit.
Boy, that's 2 now, like half, 7 and a half of 10. He's made them, but I didn't mean to interrupt, but that got a little hairy there.
Well, going across the lane, the ball fades to the right so fast on those corner shots. You think you got it. It's really easy to chop a 610 on this pattern.
Chris Warren's max here is 229.
Well, he can strike out and force Brad to get up now and double on the 10th.
Well, and that was his best-looking strike of this game.
He's got that little hesitation step. It looks like he starts, then stops right there a little bit, and he gets it going. But he's playing the same zone right around 10, 11. A little high flush, 10 back. Doesn't get any prettier than that.
Oh, that's it.
That looked inside. That was like 15.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
14 at the arrows, and that was going left.
Fortunate to have not hit disaster there, but this is close to disaster as long as Angelo keeps striking.
Well, yeah, the best he can do is 209.
Yeah, Brad's just about in a great position here.
I think Brad just needs good count, and it's going to be, unfortunately,
yeah, 9 holes, 215, so 209 for Chris. Yeah, there's not a whole lot Chris can do now.
Nope.
Good tournament, though. I mean, he was up towards the top of the leaderboard pretty much from game 1. Bowled with Mika, as we talked, all week in qualifying.
Yeah, we missed the rematch.
Yeah, not going to quite get that one. They bowled together in the advancers round, bowled each other match number 1. And unfortunately for Chris, it's going to be, well, I mean, not unfortunately for, it's 4th place finish.
It's a 4th place finish, his 3rd top 5 of this season, a great way to finish off.
Well, making the show is great, but I guarantee you every one of these guys that don't win are not happy.
Oh, yeah.
That's the point. At least you made the show, but they're disappointed because they didn't see it. They didn't make the right move. They didn't switch balls. I mean, they'll replay this several times in their head over the course of the next couple of days.
Well, that first shot, the 10th for Chris, he knows it was just a bad shot. He missed by an arrow.
Right.
So he knows better than that.
So Brad Angelo to put the finishing touches on a 2nd win.
But Brad's going to get a chance to try another ball for a couple of shots as well. So a couple freebies. And from what we saw, I think the absolute control he went to at the end of game number 1, he can kind of bump in, curve a little more. But against Mika, I don't know, Tom, do you take a chance to throw a couple of urethanes right now? I mean, I don't know. I mean, 1-2 shots might not make a huge difference, but
yeah, I don't think the urethane would make a huge difference. The only thing psychologically might get into somebody's head,
right,
that would be more than the lane changing, because some guys really freak out when they see urethane go down the lane, and so psychologically that it could be an advantage. But on the other side of the coin, let's say he moved in around 15 and threw urethane. That could make Mika's shot a whole lot better, too.
Yeah.
You don't want to take that chance.
Good and the bad, right? Yeah. Another nice ball game for Brad, though. Pretty solid.
So our next match will be Mika Koivuniemi and Brad Angelo, with Tom Hess in the number 1 position. Tom also getting a few warm-up tosses.
8th show in a row for Mika.
I don't know what kind of, if that's ever been done either on linear TV or in streaming. I can't imagine it's been done on linear TV.
6 and 7 is the numbers we've heard tossed around on regular TV, depending on how you count the shows.
Right.
We had that conversation earlier this year with EJ making so many in a row.
Janowitz had made 6 in a row here on this tour on BowlTV this year. But 8 is just unconscious. And the even more amazing thing is he hasn't won yet. He has 2 runners up.
Exactly. That's
Both time losing to Janowitz as well.
that part. Major Mika, you know he can win. USBC, ABC Hall of Famer. But to make that many shows and not win, this being a major and the Tournament of Champions, if there's a poll, I'm quite sure that some of the people might be betting on Major Mika.
And Tom Clark, PBA commissioner, going to grab the headset just for a minute or two.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
Good news for you, Tom. This is, I promise, this is not a rerun of an event. This is live with Mika on his 8
times
straight,
in a row.
8 shots, 8 shows in a row. So I promise you, we're not like trying to play a trick on you here.
I've been watching. I mean, you almost can't help but root for him. I mean, you'd hate to see that 8 times in a row. But Tom Hess deserves this title, and Brad's bowling incredible. So no matter what, we're going to have a great winner, obviously. So, but I just wanted to take it. Well, I don't know what's going on out there.
Ball return,
There we
maybe?
go. There we go. Looks
Maybe
like
it
we're
goes
on.
to the re-rack.
I just wanted to jump on for a second and thank BowlTV. Thank you guys for bringing the action to everybody. Thank the fans for watching all these events and staying glued to BowlTV for all of the events that we've put on this year. And I want to thank the players on the PBA50 Tour. You know, this is the last stop of the year. This is still practice, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't know if we lost track there.
no, we're okay. Brad should be popping back into the picture here any second now.
Thank all the players for everything they put into this year, and it comes to an end here at the Tournament of Champions, and it was a really challenging event. This building is challenging, but it's a special place, and so the cream rises to the top, and we had a great tournament, obviously, here to finish things off. Congratulate John Janowitz on winning the Player of the Year. Rookie of the Year, we know Randy Weiss and Quintero are the 2 top guys. We're going to wait till we tabulate all that before we make that official. But congratulations to those guys, and I want to thank Toby Contreras, first year as the PBA50 Tour tournament director. I mean, anytime you're doing something like this for the first time, it's not going to be easy, and he made it through the year. That's a big win right there.
And look who he replaced, literally a Hall of Fame legend in John Weber, too. Yeah. So that's another thing that made the job.
He had some big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Not easy. So, just wanted to make sure we touch base with all the key people and, our sponsors and our media partners and our players and our bowling centers that we've went to this year. It kind of goes by fast. When it's over, it feels like, what happened? It
Right.
ended. But that's when you know it's good, when you wish there was more, you know. And so hopefully we'll be back for a lot more next year, and we'll just keep building this. But the PBA 50 and the players over 50 that are members of the PBA are really a lifeblood, of the tour and of the PBA. So there goes Chris Warren. That's too bad. Chris is the only one in this field that's actually bowled in the TOC finals on that pair of lanes, 27 and 8, in I think it was 1992, going for the TOC. He's always bowled well in this building. And these other guys, Mika, of course, won the TOC in 2011. He won $250,000, but that was at Red Rock in Las Vegas. So this would be his first win in this building.
And his first win on this tour since 2018. Of course, part of that is most everyone knows he left the country and did some coaching overseas and stepped away from the game. And when he stepped back in, he's made it a memorable year. That's to say the least. So hopefully he does better than that last practice shot on the upcoming
That's
game.
a good one to get out of the way.
Yeah,
Right?
do it now, precisely. So we'll get to watch his amazing pin reaction and see if this is the one. He's been to 2 finals, and both times, who does he run into? The Player of the Year and John Janowitz. So,
he's frustrated because he's a winner, and you don't want to lose 7 times in a row, and you definitely don't want to lose 8 times in a row. And when you call somebody losing when they're making these shows, that's a mixed bag.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's not, they're not, they didn't really lose.
They
They
just
just,
that's right. There's a lot of people that like to make 8 straight shows like Mika.
they like to make one show.
That's right. That's right.
and that's why there's 3 medals in the Olympics, or on Formula One, 3 spots on the podium. It's not just first place; it's second and third to get honored as well. So, and here it's 5 in the sport to get honored, or sometimes 4. So we are about to begin
Here
this
we
match.
go. All right, I'm going to let you guys.
Yeah,
do
go
it.
ahead,
Do
Tom.
your
Thank
thing.
you.
Thank you very much for giving me a chance.
Yeah, we'll see you when it's all over. Tom will be presenting the honors for whoever out of the 3 remaining players will win this major championship here on the PBA50 Tour. Only second TFC ever on this tour history. Brad goes Brooklyn and leaves the 5-pin.
There's a little history here, too. Wasn't this place? I'm racking my mind, but the bomb threat?
Yeah,
Yep,
1991.
that was here. Yeah, Mark Gerberts was talking about that yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
1991.
So interesting that Chris Warren let Brad start, and Mika's doing the same thing.
And on the same lane. Chris had Brad start and thereby, of course, finish on the right. So,
Well, we've seen a couple of the shots that Mika made on that left lane. The last one was flush, but the couple before were almost runaway Brooklyn going high. So that's, to me, that's the trick lane.
and of course, Brad's trying to break a losing streak as well. It's been a couple of years since he's won, and he is perpetually on shows.
Both of these guys are making shows like nothing, but they're just having some sour luck when they get to the show.
All right, let's see what happens. A flush hit for Mika to get things started.
Looks like he went to a gym, too. He's got a big ball in his hand.
Yeah, Mika kind of throws a little bit of everything, right? A little variety in his bag.
Yeah, he's not with any company, so he can throw whatever he wants. You see that loft right there, probably about 7 feet out on the lane. So, if he needs the ball, any company's going to help out Mika.
Interesting that 2 of the guys that make all the shows are not with any particular company. With Janowitz,
Yeah.
Janowitz with the job, I understand that. But Mika, I bet if we see him bowl again full time next year, he might get comfortable with a certain company.
I think somebody should make him an offer he can't refuse.
Well, Dave Bernhardt from Turbo told me when he was coming out, there's going to be one less check for you guys out there. He wasn't lying.
It seems to happen every year, doesn't it?
Yep.
Ooh, that's just a
Quality
hair
shot.
high for Mika.
I guess it seems fitting, right? Our tournament champions, final event of the year, the 3 guys that have made the most shows, basically, with exception of Janowitz.
Except for Janowitz.
With Hess and Brad and Mika. I mean, look, we're down to the 3 of the best players of the season.
Well, what did we
For the
say
last
for
time.
Brad? This is his 6th?
6th, yeah.
All right. And
Yeah, I'm going to say total. How many shows is that between these 4 guys?
well, Mika 8
and 6 is 14.
and
right
Tom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 7 for Tom,
It's 21.
and he's won 4 out of those 7 with 1 second place. 4 out of 6 with 1 second place. Let me count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows. So this is 7. He's had 4 wins, a second, and a 5th. That was at the Johnny Petraglia.
So that's 14 events. That's 70 spots, and these guys are taking up 20 of the 70 spots.
And here's the other thing. So
That's all.
with Mika and with Tom has a runner-up finish, only 1. Mika has 2 runner-up finishes, and who beat him? Same guy.
Yeah, John Janowitz.
Yeah. So Tom's another one in the final match. This includes the trios, which counted as a title. But in this tour, he's 3-1 in the championship game, 4-1 in the championship game when you count the trios, which counts as a title, so we'll count it here. So another guy who get him in the title game, and your odds aren't good.
Well, you're in his backyard at that point. That's where it's where he's been so much in the last 3 years. That you're just in his comfort zone.
Well, yeah, for him, it's just like a walk in the park.
Yeah,
You know-
it was today, that's for sure.
When you get there that many times, I mean, there's no pressure. You just do your job and bowl.
Brad with a double. We mentioned Mika's year. He had one tournament in April. Hamtramck, his worst tournament, worst in quotes. He was 9th. Then he came back at the USBC Senior Masters, 7th. Doesn't bowl the Open. Then we get to that little quiet period where there's a little bit of time for everybody to rest. And then it started. Second place at Bud Moore. Third place, Ballard. Fourth place, Monticelli. Third place, Petraglia. Fourth place, World. Fourth place, Trios. Second place, South Shore.
And the Bud Moore, I thought he had that one.
Yeah, he was the top seed there, right?
Well, especially after Janowitz had that 6 count and missed all of them in about the 5th frame. We thought that that Mika was going to walk away with it.
You know what this is? This is Anthony Simonson 2023. Mika just said, right? I mean, top 10 every week.
So I'm looking at all these banners because it's just interesting to look at. Walter Ray has never won.
Not this tournament.
This tournament.
This is unbelievable, but true.
Well, so we do have a guy that could be the first to win both TOCs.
He's wheeling on it.
No.
And it didn't come back.
Didn't come back.
That's the ball he wasn't getting the light messengers with. That's just a big ball, heavy rolling. It's going to push the pins back. Ball's going forward as it hits the pins. Yeah, it's amazing. A guy's got 150 titles. This isn't one of them.
Yeah, pretty shocking because he's bowled it a lot. He's been eligible for a long time.
Yeah,
All this event.
and he just missed the top 5 by 26 pins. When Mika shoots that 10 pin, he just doesn't look comfortable.
Oh, he has a funny way of shooting. His spares, he always hunches kind of forward. He's tall,
He doesn't
man.
do that on his strike shot.
No, it is kind of odd. I don't know whether he did. Listen, it's working, but and I don't know whether that's a product of height. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't happen on strikes.
It's almost like he tries to throw it too hard, and he gets kind of miscombobulated up there. His body gets out of whack.
Brett Angelo, 2-0 today. And
That looked slow from what he'd been doing, and that just read way early.
all right. This is doable for a professional. 3, 4, 6, 7. That's going to bite into his count a little bit as well. But we'll see if Brad can fly that 3 over.
In the position round, he left a split, and almost, I think it was a 7-10, and almost picked it up through. The pin came back out in front of the 7.
He picked up a 410 earlier this week also. It's got to go.
It's got a chance.
No,
Oh.
it doesn't have a chance. It never hooked.
That's the thing we just said earlier about this.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
We saw that,
Yeah.
Craig, you and I
Yeah, backs
several
up.
times.
You know, like,
Yeah.
as much as the lanes hook and as big a ball as you're throwing with so much friction, ball's going to turn over, and it just keeps fading, especially on that right side.
Yeah, Mika's tournament champions win back in 2011. Actually had a ball named for it. Remember the 250K?
Right.
That's what that was. He won the TOC for $250,000. So maybe that's the secret. If he wins again, he gets another ball.
We have a viewer from Texas who just chimed in with a thought about Mika's spares and his.
Oh,
my
it's happening.
goodness.
Lanes are changing.
And he changed right on Brad. According to this source, who would absolutely know the answer, it's because of his knees.
Do what?
His knees, Mika's knees.
Really?
Yes. That's exactly right.
He's got measles.
He's got issues. Yeah, and because of the speed involved, it hurts. And
Wow.
I can say this source is unimpeachable. It's not Mika, but it's just about the next best thing.
Okay.
Barnes.
Barnes.
Okay, why don't just admit it? It was Chris Barnes. Chris certainly ought to know. Yeah, Mika's had some knee issues, and Lord knows we've almost jokingly talked about the guy's bowled about 9,000 games in the last month. So,
Well,
granted, there
it-
we go.
It is hard, guys, for tall guys rather, to bend low, get down on the lane. Going back in history, if you kind of looked at Dave Davis, if you're kind of a bowling buff,
Another tall player.
another tall player,
Yep.
not much knee bend. Dave Sutar, not a whole lot of knee bend. One of the biggest guys that had a great knee bend, Steve Cook.
Right there, 1981 Tournament of
Yeah,
Champions.
Big Steve.
He's like 6'8", and he was probably, I don't know, back then 280, but had a knee bend that was incredible.
Well, a door open now for Mika, and he's a double here would put Brad in some hurt.
Mika moving
That's
close
the
to that third arrow, and then we said that's where it was going to go. I think Brad just got kind of blindsided, caught off guard, and didn't expect the ball to hook that much.
That is the classic Mika strike, using the head pin as almost like a second bowling ball. And the way he gets that head pin to weaponize against the others is really something. And he did that all day today, especially when he got hot and made his run. And comeback time for Brad Angelo if he can overcome those two open frames.
That almost looked like he moved farther right.
It's going to be down 31, though, unfortunately.
Well,
through this game.
yeah, but we'll see. He's not going to give in, that's for sure.
Best Brad can shoot's 229. He's going to need them all for that if Mika gets lined up here.
Well, if Mika starts getting those so-called light strikes, then it's going to
Katie bar the door.
Yeah, it's troubling. He'll bunch him. Troubling for Brad, obviously. Well, he figured out the lane pretty quickly, and a little light there on the 10 pin for Brad Angelo.
Well, he figured it out to keep it on the pocket side, but not to strike.
Not to strike.
Because Mika's attacking it a little farther left with his loft is coming into play, keeping it on line a little stronger.
That is a full-on 10 pin right there. And Mika now trying to put a hammerlock on this.
Brad Angelo 209 if he can throw the next 5. And that's not that he can't, but I don't feel right now that he's lined up enough to be able to do that.
You know, another double for Mika. Yeah, he hated it. And
Yeah, that was
kind
of like left off his hand.
He hated it and had every reason to hate it.
3-6-10. Hate that spare.
I can't wait to meet the first bowler who tells me how
That they-
much he or she loves to shoot at the 3-6-10. And you know when that'll happen? Never.
Well, we talk all the time. There's just so many ways to miss it. I mean, more ways to miss it than make it, right? You can chop the 10, you
And
can chop the 3, you take the 6-10, the 3.
When you think you got it, you don't. It's just that spare is so aggravating.
Unless you just bury it.
Just like
They do
that.
it.
That's the textbook shot. That's the way you're supposed to do it. Just use a 3-6 as a pocket. .237 now possible for Mika if he goes off the sheet.
.28 advantage for Mika.
That's
Pin, come on.
looked like a quality shot.
I had to bet on him splattering pins like he normally does on that shot.
Yep, that looked like a quality effort.
Didn't expect the 7. I know we've said it 100 times, but this place is tough. It is just,
Well, because 100 times you say it, it's right.
yeah, but it's just, and I know people out there watching, until you've experienced it, if you ever bowled here, it's tough.
Mika very solid with his spare game.
Donnie Hogue was telling me that, people come in and they go, "You want to bowl on their house shot?" And it's out there, and they go, "Well, this can't be your house shot." And you go, "Yeah, it's our house shot. It's tough."
I think it just goes to what you talked about. The overlays over top of the wood, and so the track has got to be just so worn, right?
And those overlays aren't new.
fishing
They've
through
been
it.
there a while.
If Brad wants to do something, he has to start right now. Oh, my goodness. So both players feeling like their most recent shot was a good one.
Yeah, when you feel like you just peeled it off your hand and you're bending down like Brad did, is like he's ready to pull the cord, you know it's there, and you don't get the reward for it. Very frustrating. And that wears on you in your mind a lot. What do I got to do to get the 10 out? Is it a ball change? Is it more speed? Is it less speed? Is it more axis rotation?
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you're right. The
Move
answer
forward,
is
move
correct.
back, throw it harder, the whole, all the above, unfortunately.
Yeah, but which combination of those is the right one?
That's what the ball rip is for.
Well, thanks. I'm sure Callahan's down there giving some advice.
Well, the lead is 28 for Mika going into the ninth.
.198 best Brad can do now. He needs them all.
Looks good.
That was a lazy 10. Even though it looked great, it was just kind of a lazy 10 going down.
Mika can lock Brad out in the ninth and 10th.
Yeah, Mika just needs to stay clean, and he's going to be bowling for a title yet again against the man that led it by 322 pins.
Well, so not only does Mika have had some bad luck, and sometimes he hasn't bowled all that great when he's gotten on these shows. That's kind of a combination. So last week he bowls the bowler of the year. This week he's going to bowl the guy who's the runner-up for bowler of the year for the championship if he survives this match against Angelo and stays clean, as you mentioned, Craig.
And Tom's had probably easily one of the top 5 or 6 all-time seasons on the PBA50 Tour.
Oh, that was a 7-10.
There was a 7-10 there. Holy smokes.
And he's had that happen to him before. Remember in Stepladder 7-10 to cost him a match?
And with his knee the way it is, and we've seen it on TV.
Yeah, nothing's there. He's been smooth on a spare game so far. Obviously, that's a match changer if anything weird happens here, but we're going to assume he's going to pop this. And he did.
That's probably why your knee hurts, is when you try to throw it harder, you come to a dead stop at that height. Body doesn't like it.
Over and over
and over again.
Well, I remember when Pete was having those hip issues, it wasn't on a strike ball, it was on the 10 pins.
Right.
You get to the part of the lane, the approach, it doesn't slide quite as much, and you get that leverage up, and it just...
Yeah, because you use your legs a little more, you're trying to drive through it.
Sends that little stinger right up the whole left side.
Well, he's going to have to mark.
That's not as easy as you just said it was.
Very aware of that. He got that one out.
Oh, that's
Raised.
going to be
Look
high.
out.
Oh, it looked like it was going to be high.
No, I thought so too.
I thought it was going to be high.
Dead flush.
Catching that shim and sitting right there.
Dead flush.
You wonder where the oil line is on the pattern? It's right there.
Right there at the pocket. Because that stayed right.
He reached back for that one a little bit too.
Yeah, that was with authority.
That is what we like to call a high hard one. That was a no messing around. I'm tired of the spare nonsense. Shot.
That held. It looked like it was going left.
Yeah, I thought anything bad could happen here, and not the case. So Mika's moving on. And it'll be his second straight final, his third final of this streak of 8 shows in a row. Took a little off of that, and that's the end of that. Brad Angelo takes another solid tournament, but another wait to be in the winner's circle for Brad. He'll finish third. And so it'll be the 1-2 bowlers, Mika and the number 1 bowler, Tom Hess.
Tom Hess, he gets to come in. He's got 10 shots. Now, is he going to take all 10?
Yeah, he will. Tom will. Yeah, I think so. This isn't Jason Couch here. Jason doesn't take those 10 shots. Tom Hess will take those 10 shots. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Another great tournament for Brad. Good end of the season. Comes up a little bit short, but another show. Solid year.
The unfortunate thing, the really terrible thing about it is fire up 2025 and Brad gets on the show and what are we going to talk about? You know, it's that'll end. We're all confident it's going to end.
Now they fall down. All he's got to do is kick it down there and they'll strike now.
Yeah.
I think the pins know when you need that strike. There's some mental telepathy going on there somehow. I told Tommy Hess when they were all warming up, he was practicing. I go, you don't need to practice. You led by 400. He goes, well, just give me the trophy then. I said,
they'll save us all a little time, you know, get dinner
I said,
earlier.
they'll probably give you the trophy, but you're going to have to bowl for the money.
There you go.
Well, I will tell you, he sent Donnie Hogue up here. Tom Hess did when Tom Clark was here to say, hey, just ask Tom if I can just, save those 300 pins for the regular TOC next year. I said, tell him no, because we're going to make him work the booth. He's not bowling.
Wow.
Denied. Vacation denied.
Third place for Brad. And then Tom Hess will march in. Okay. Tom wants to acknowledge the crowd. I think Tom would like to bowl. I really, really believe Tom would like to get
after
started.
you get warmed up, now you got a 5-minute announcement.
All right, we're going to have practice again. We're going to have practice.
Pre-practice. We're going to
have practice. That was a long pause. And once again, we're going to see somebody start in the left lane. And third, Angelo did it a couple of times. Mika's going to do it now. For the title, last match of the PBA 50 season right here. 2 Hall of Famers. Oh, boy. Okay, then.
It's the best shot we've seen from Mika today.
Yeah, that was like matter of fact right there.
All right.
It's like I am putting this one to bed. 8 shows. This
I don't
one's
care
mine.
I don't care if it's Tom Hess or anybody or Tom Carter.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. Problem is, it is Tom Hess, and it's not going to be that easy.
No.
Oh, he got that one.
Yeah, you could hear him.
Took off,
As far as we are, I could hear him go, oh, wow.
That hit the lane and decided to go left.
Well, but his miss we've seen this week, when he misses right, it just sits there. The ball hits
hangs.
610. That one didn't hang.
No, it did not.
Holy cow, did that move? And the dreaded 3-6-10.
Well, let's talk about Walter Ray as a spare shooter. Here's one of the best also. Literally a head scratcher.
This is the thing that I think a bowler hates the most. You've only got 10 frames. It's not like you got a lot of time to think about this. You got to make a decision and an adjustment and go with it and commit to the process, because if you don't commit to the shot that you're thinking about, you go up there and you cut it short because you're not sure it's going to work, and you baby it, it could be all bad. So when he gets back on that lane, he's got to make an adjustment and go with it.
The good news is he won't finish on that lane. Then he'll have time to figure it out. Like that. On the left lane. He'll figure it out fast. And off he goes.
Yeah, ball change coming.
Either a ball change or he's talking to Callahan. You're like, what just happened?
Oh, that's going to be a ball change on the right lane, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking down to where he is, and I think that is going to be an equipment move. Yeah. Mika, no ball change.
Oh.
Nope. Just not enough on it. I thought maybe the 6 might do a little,
give it a little nudge.
Low tap, but not the case. So
he didn't look as confident after that came off his hand as the one on the left lane. Well, he looked a lot smoother on that 10-pin
Yep.
spare shot than he's been on some of the others. I guess I've never understood, and maybe a lot of it's out of frustration, why guys try to come out of their shoes to knock over one pin, and throw their body out of whack when you're only knocking down a 3-pound, 8-ounce pin. You don't need to throw it 100, but they try.
Everybody does, right? It just happens. Frustration.
It's got to be frustration.
That will work. That will work.
What 4-9?
Yeah, that 4 looked like he's going to roll around and just maybe I'll stand up, maybe it won't.
Felt like there was something under the 4 that made it take longer to fall down. Take a look at the 4-pin again. The 9 kind of falls in line, but the 4,
It gets nudged, and
then
I guess I'll fall.
Yep. Yeah. Remember, folks, gravity never loses.
What are you saying?
Bet on gravity. Well, that's a big change from the first shot on that lane.
You got it farther down. Change. Looked like it stayed the same ball, but just got it farther down lane. Projected it. Very nice.
I think he moved in a little bit, and the front angle is a little steeper. Mm-hmm. So he moved feet left. Looked like he got it to the same part down lane, but he moved the front angle in. Big breath, got to relax.
Well, he does that a lot in these matches. I don't see it as much in qualifying or even match play, but when he gets onto the show, he will be a little bit more patient, a little bit more deliberate.
Well, as a lot of the guys out there, the professionals, you got to slow down time. You got to. Everything happens so fast in that title match or in any match, one-game match. And you're in the 10th frame before you know it. So you got to take breaths. You got to slow your heart rate down. You got to slow time down. And that is really tough to do because anxiety's there. I want to bowl.
And occasionally, Craig, we talked about this when Tom does have a problem, it's because he goes fast.
Yeah, just gets his feet going.
Get fast, and then it works against him. So he's fighting in any of that, and it's working.
Well, and he's so strong, too. He can really just gas one.
Yep, if he needed to.
Well, and that's a problem in itself. The fact that he is strong, he uses more upper body strength, and you don't want to use that much muscle in bowling. You want to use more rhythm, want to use your legs. And when you bring your upper body into play, now you're grabbing the ball and things could go sideways in a heartbeat.
Another perfect flush strike for Mika, and he really does need another one here. We've seen a lot of Tom doing this where he just starts going, and
once he starts striking, he didn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
So at this rate, we got a 290 to 280 game going.
Yeah, listen, don't bet against that just yet.
Yeah, it looked like in just a touch maybe, and didn't catch the dry at the right point there. It doesn't face up for him.
And maybe it was just my eyes, but the rhythm of that, it looked like his backswing was a little bit higher and a little bit more zoom going down the lane, like he was getting into it.
All right, nothing to it.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, the problem is 9 spare looks great sometimes, but not
when you got a guy that's
at all.
Won as much as he has in the last
not now.
year and a half.
And you said something really interesting, Tom, about how Tom Hess sees it. He sees the lane. Explain that to the audience. What do you mean by that?
To me, that means it's like you got X-ray vision. You can almost see the oil pattern where he needs to throw the ball to get the right shape on the lane to get the ball to do the right thing. And when you can see and we talk about it like the ball reps, when you can see the lane, and it's somebody said something.
Some noise there. Yeah, Tom staring somebody down there.
He's not liking that
noise,
a lot.
A phone. We're not in a position
wasn't
to be
me.
able to
I
hear
didn't
it.
do it.
It's not us. We're a long ways away.
Yeah,
so.
they can't. I don't. If they hear us, that's unbelievable. But no, he was staring somebody down.
Yeah.
Might have been a phone went off.
Yeah, it's so more deep breaths and a chance to kind of reignite and start over.
And this brings out the fact that what kind of savvy you got right now. Can you refocus? Take that breath. Forget about what happened. Don't be up there thinking, is it going to happen again?
Didn't affect him one bit.
Whoa. You see that little, it's like he puffed out his chest there a little bit like, is that going to fall? And there, he's like, whoa.
Ball took out the 9-pin. And you see how the Mika's numbers look really good, and then you look over to the left.
Yeah. They had that hiccup with whatever happened. Tommy refocuses, spare four-bagger, and it doesn't look like he's going to stop striking anytime soon.
And a great lesson for other bowlers. And I don't know if Tom is talking maybe to Toby or he's not requesting a re-rack. But about, if you do get interrupted, just go back and start everything. I guess Mika doesn't do that, but most other bowlers will do that.
And when we say reset, that means get off the approach, let the ball down, start the whole process over. Don't try to start it in mid.
Yeah, this could be over. When Tom had his 300, 7 shots into it, I said he's going to throw 300.
Well, look how he posted his shot.
Yeah, exactly. He took the words out of my mouth. He stared that down. He knew that was going to be there, and he peered it off his hand. You make shots like that. That's why you could have 10 wins here pretty quick.
Well, that's like the baseball pitcher seeing the glove, right? I mean, Tom just saw the pocket off his hand. He saw nothing else. He just saw the line.
Clear the mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah, shut the brain off. That's the worst ball in the bag.
Yeah, just clear the mechanism.
Mika just cannot miss now. He can't. Anything less than a strike is putting him in just hotter and hotter water.
Well, that's what makes Tom Hess so tough, though. He keeps the pressure on, right? He doesn't give you a chance. You have to take that chance.
We just said it earlier. When Tom starts striking like this, he sees it, and then it's just a matter for him. It's a walk in the park. He just keeps reproducing. He hits the replay button every shot. Well, it's nice he's picking up spares, but that's not going to win this game.
No. If he strikes out, was that 28, 58, 88 to 248, right? If he goes off the sheet? It may not be enough.
No.
It may not even be close. Something,
248 sounds like a good game until you look at your opponent.
Yeah, sounds like a great
He's
game.
looking like he's shooting 290.
I mean, unless something bizarre happens to Tom, and maybe more than once, it seems hard to. This is what Tom did to the field, especially today. But it's not a big surprise.
There's the splasher strikes that we've been seeing.
Yep, Mika chopped him in half on that one.
A couple more frames yet to go here in this championship match, final event of the year. But don't forget, there's still plenty of action on BowlTV. We've got the Pan Am Games from Reno coming up this week. We've got tour trials, several RPIs, college events. A lot of stuff yet in store for all our viewers out there throughout the rest of the year. And then PBA Tour is going to kick off probably early January.
Yeah, you see 2024, the remainder of our schedule. So we've all got lots to look forward to. Yeah, he knew.
It-
He knows this. We've seen this before, man.
This is going to be over in about another shot.
Well, it's going to take me some time to get down there to do the interview, so I might have to get up a frame early if this is going to be settled because
I think Tommy's already deposited that $15,000 first place check.
and another major championship as well. This would be his first major of the year. Runner-up at the Senior U.S. Open, but right now he is in complete control here at the PBA50 Tournament of Champions.
Whoa, that was almost a 5-7. He amped that one up a little bit to keep it online.
A little bit. But that's the lane. Remember, we saw Mika got one in, too. There's a little more oil there in the middle. That shim seems to be a board or two wider than what it is on lane 28.
Guys, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
No.
The only thing I'm noticing different with Tom is he's taking his deep breaths and his time on the approach. Usually he does it off the approach.
Like clockwork.
Well, Mika needs to throw a couple strikes here and let Tom know he's still here and try to put some sort of pressure on him. That's all there is to it. 248 still possible for Mika.
And if Tommy just strikes pairs out, it's 249.
Right.
Yeah.
The only way Mika can make this a match is string the rest of them.
Yeah, he's going to have to throw a 5-bagger. There's no doubt about it.
And unfortunately for Mika, it's got to be a little bit of a mindset, being very frustrated if this is the 8th show and no win.
In a row, even.
Well, there's one.
It's the more amazing point. 8 in a row.
Yeah, that's just unheard of. I mean, every one of these PBA senior players I know we're seeing a lot of the same people, but we've seen 7 new faces at the World Championships. But any of these guys that you never get to see on the show would love to be there just once, let alone 8 times in a row.
Well, remember last year when people kept saying, well, is Mika going to bowl? Where's Mika? They're not saying that anymore.
No, they're saying, is Mika going to coach again? Is there another foreign
that's what
country?
we're wondering.
Yeah.
Can he get a coaching job?
Mika doesn't know he's actually put in 7 resumes for coaching jobs.
Yeah, doesn't
He may
Pago-
not have sent them, but the resumes are there.
Yeah, doesn't Pago have a team that he could go coach for a few years?
And Giants can come and do the lanes for him. There we go.
There,
All right.
Well, we could get a little bit of a match out of this.
Well, if Tom doesn't strike, we do. Mika into that, he hopped.
Yeah, he had a little MPHs on that one too.
248 still in play for Mika. 269 the max for Tom.
So, as a player, big deep breaths. He's looking up there. He's got to know that Mika strikes out. It's 48. That means I gotta put something up here.
Yep.
Well, I mean, 9 spare strike, 9 spares,
Yeah.
248 for Tom. So it's far from over. Remember, I think we agree the last one he might have gotten in a little quick. Let's see what kind of adjustment he makes here on this lane. Because this is a lane that hooked on him early.
Yep.
Oh, that was
Wow.
That was a quality shot right there.
And a messenger arrives too late and doesn't make any contact anyway. That was a terrific shot. He's, I think, a little bit surprised that
Yes.
did not put 10 in the pit.
So now that forces a huge double in the 10th.
Yeah, double the win. Shut him out.
A quality shot, unrewarded.
Welcome to bowling.
Yeah, I know.
And strike spare is a potential roll-off, too, in this final game.
That might be fun. Not for them.
Was it Tom and Mika that had to roll
Tom
off?
and Mika to roll off at the World Series.
Jackson, yeah.
Exactly right. Tom won that one. They went to 13 frames.
We're taking a little extra time here.
That's okay. That's understandable. Max is now 258, a double, and it's ball game.
Double for the win. 9 spare strike allows Mika to strike out for the win by a pin.
Ooh.
First one, he's staring it down. That was money.
Yeah, that was a lot of pin action there. Now he has to tell himself to calm down after getting excited.
That was a big key for Norm Duke. Norm Duke, especially if he struck on the right lane, not to get excited because he had to go to the left lane to throw another shot. That second shot, obviously it's natural to get excited, but now you got to reset.
Yeah, he's going to take time. I wouldn't even faint if he took a re-rack here.
Go outside, take a walk around the building.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. He is taking a re-rack. That is not a surprise. He's got to get the heart rate down a little bit. He knows if he cranks this one, it's for title number 5 for 2024 and title number 10 for his PBA 50 career. So
this one is huge. If he strikes here, there could be a war hoop let out on this one. And this is going to be a big one because Tommy, big, strong guy, but he's very emotional. Like a big kitten inside. Maybe. That looks pure again. Uh-oh.
through the nose, and he's got
That off his hand looked good.
a 6. That's a 9 pin is back there. If he makes it,
It's 248.
and Mika can tie him, anything. And Tom, again, we talk all the time about his spare game is superb. So you have to assume he's going to make this.
But it's a 3, 6, 9, 10.
I know the 9 makes it harder, but again, if he,
I don't think he'll have a problem with
no,
it. But
I don't think so either. I really don't. I fully expect this to be made. Well,
Clutch right there. Clutch.
well.
well, you might as well say it there, Craig.
Possibility of a tie.
There's only one way that's going to happen.
He's got to throw the next 3.
There's no other way. Anything less than a strike, and Tom Hess is your champion.
This is the situation every kid that ever threw a bowling ball wants to be in.
Oh, no, Mika's got no problem with being in this situation.
No.
None.
Is it?
All right, there's one.
That was pretty much perfect.
Here's a poll question for you. How many people are in Traverse City at home in Mika's house sitting down right now?
None.
0.
No,
0.
none. Pacing, cursing, fearing.
Did you see his demeanor after he threw that strike?
Yeah. Well, why celebrate?
There was nothing.
No, there's no
Just-
celebrating now. No, not yet. There's no celebrating if he gets 2 more because they're not done.
Got work
Nope.
to do.
They're not finished. So,
It's showtime.
yeah, well, hardly anybody better to try to finish off something than that man.
Is it?
Oh, no.
Oh.
It's unbelievable. But in a tournament full of champions, the ultimate champion is Tom Hess. This
my
is
God.
unreal, but Tom is your champion here at Riviera.
Watch this 6-pin just
Wrapped around, and he thought it was there. He's backing it off. That 6 just wrapped around the
half an
pin.
inch, maybe
Oh, my
half an inch,
God.
if that, and it's gone.
Well, Tom is the winner. We'll talk to him shortly.
Holy cow.
Thank you, Toby, again for Mika and for all the guys at the Stepladder, please. Anywhere you want, man. You're in charge. This is your building today. Let's see the front of that so everybody can see where it says champion right there. For Tom Hess, if you don't know, he's now joined Angelo Moncelli with 10 PBA 50 titles, his 5th title this year. A major championship, your first for this year, and you had a close call at the U.S. Open, winning a major. Didn't work out. This time it worked out. You owned this building this week. What was it about your game in this building that matched up so well?
Well, I've bowled several times at the regular Tournament of Champions in this building, and I know that it's tricky. It's a hard building, and so I knew there was going to be those pitfalls. You know, you were going to have those games. I had second one today. You know, I'm going to come in with a big lead of 170. Dan bowls 270, 230, and all of a sudden, you know, it's close. But I just said, hey, you know, you've been bowling great. I was in great control of the lane most of the time. I didn't rifle through bowling balls. Yet yesterday I threw a gem all day. Today I threw the new Summit Ascent pretty much all day. After that second game, bowled 300, you know, the game before the position round, which pretty much sealed the #1 seed. And then, man, Mika Koivuniemi. Let's give it up for Mika, everybody that's here. Eighth show in a row for Major Mika. Proud to call him a friend and great bowling. And I would be remiss if I didn't also shout out John Janowitz. John and I pretty much kind of had control of this tour. We both get 5 wins. JJ gets Player of the Year. He had a little bit better year than I did. Congratulations to JJ.